Hey everybody, welcome back to Target Forge. First of all, big shout out to the Airgun podcast. Trey, you're doing a great job. Keep up the work, buddy. Love listening to it in the office or out in the shop. It's fantastic. If you haven't checked out the Airgun podcast, you need to. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, anybody that's been following my woes with the Yong Heng compressor, well, I can't say woes because I got 2 years out of a compressor I paid, well, 3 years, a compressor I paid $180 for. This one I found on Amazon yesterday, well, 2 days ago, and it was available for prime shipment, so I could get it in 2 days. I got it on a Sunday, but it said damaged package. That's why it was so cheap. So I didn't have any pictures, but I trusted that just the package was damaged, so the item was probably okay. That may have been a bit of a stretch on my part. So, first off, I had to laugh that it said Amazon warehouse inspected. So the pros at Amazon have verified that this was okay. Because it did say, like new condition, just damaged package. So when I got it here and pulled it out of the box, I noticed there's a little swell in the sheet metal right here. And this fastener's, the main fastener that ties the crankcase to the motor, is loose. So I'm going to pull the cover on this, and I was going to pull the cover anyway, to be fair, because I don't use this temperature sensor here. I actually am going to put an hour meter in this slot and use my temperature measurement on the rest of the system that I'll show you later. But anyway, just going to pop this cover off and see what's up. So come along while we zip this thing off and see what kind of surprises we've got inside this thing. Well, so this is not the bolt that secures the crankcase to the motor, but the starter capacitor. So I'm not sure if we're going to be back in business today or not. It looks like it's just the case. The innards of the cap seem okay. Probably what I'm going to do is tape this up really good and just see if it'll work. If it doesn't work, then I'll probably just return this through Amazon. But anyway, that's probably what that dent was, because that dent would have ended up right there, right here on this cap, and that's probably what yielded this case. Anyway, I'll be right back with some tape, and we'll just do a real quick power cycle to see if this thing even runs. Okay, back with some tape and a screwdriver. Put this case back. Again, I have no illusion. This is not a fix. This is all Band-Aid. But hey, when you're dealing with Yong Heng compressors, it's all a Band-Aid, right? There, good as new. marks. I guess we'll just get another cap for it. Count my blessings. Everyone seems to have this conversation about whether or not the Yong Heng is a Yong Heng or a clone. Like somebody's secretly making these in another underground factory in China to pass them off as Yong Heng copies. I really don't think that's the case. I think these are simply put out there under the Yong Heng name, and then they'll make a batch of them on commission for somebody else and let them sell them. I think these are all coming off the same factory. All these castings and everything look exactly the same. The tooling marks look exactly the same. This one, I will say though, this one's 3 years newer than my old one, and it's missing the whole low pressure drain block over here and all of that tubing that came back and forth. So this one's definitely simpler, but I see serious issues with the tubing. This bend starts before it even gets out of the fitting, which to me is bad form. And there's no glycerin in this gauge that I can see. I've heard some people complain that they actually had problems with that, so maybe they stopped doing it. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna put this cover back on and get this ready to drop in the chassis that I built for him. Be right back. I wanted to share with you really quick how I'm going to add this very inexpensive hour meter I got on Amazon. I'll put the link with the video, but I'm going to undo these two spade connections, cut off the connectors, crimp on two more with pigtails that go to this switch. So the input power, this is a double pole, double throw switch, so the input power is coming through the cord set up into here and then crossing through the contacts of the switch out the other side. This guy can take everything from 8 volts to 270 volts, AC or DC, which means that there's a bridge rectifier and some magic going on inside to be able to have that wide of a voltage and flavor of electricity range. But anyway, we're going to put this in there. It fits a little loose in this hole, but it does clip in place. And like I said, I monitor temperature on another system, so I'm not worried about not having a temp gauge there. So I'll be back after we've done some splicing. I just thought it'd be nice to know when it was time to change the oil, stuff like that. Although I hear some of you guys are not fans of changing the oil on these. You think they should be left out in the garage to rot. I definitely have a different opinion on regular maintenance. But hey, you know what? It's a free world. Actually, it's not. It's supposed to be a free country, but even that sometimes. And yes, those are real horses you're hearing. Actually, you want to see them in action. They're going right out of down the road right now. Those are two Belgians pulling that cart. Don't know if you can make it out. Right over there. They board here. They're very sweet animals. Anyway, back to work. So now we've got these pigtails on there. These can go right back on the switch leads. That looks nice. And we're just going to take our hour meter, make sure it's facing the right way, snap it in the hole there. There's no polarity on this because it's AC or DC, so it very likely has a bridge rectifier inside that makes everything that comes in DC no matter what it is. So anyway, there we go. That's all done. Alright, now we're going to button this up and go throw it in the chassis. Okay, put some oil in, change that for the vent, and we're ready to see if this guy makes positive pressure. Here we go. Time for a little Earl. Just to the top of the red dot there. I've only run this for about an hour initially on this oil, and then I'll change that oil out. Just give it a little break in. I mean, only costs a couple cents, right? So on the unit that this is replacing, when the piston broke, here's the piston. You can see the big crack here, and then this whole center part is punched in. First, I noticed the smell of oil in the air, and I'm like, well, that's weird. I've never smelled that running this. And then the next thing I knew, it was coming out this hole in the vent and just shooting out like a mist. So that's how we knew she was a gunner. But I'm gonna go have a buddy look at this and see what he would charge to make a much better piston. One thing you don't want to forget is there is a little plastic crush washer that goes in here that does that seal. It's in your bag of bits that come with it. Some people say it's Delrin, but I don't think these are. I think these are actually white nylon. Delrin would be way too expensive for these cats. And this, of course, is the bleed. Bleed slash moisture vent. Ideally, it's the lowest point in the system. Man, those threads are terrible. Holy crap. Wow. That is ghastly machining right there. These threads are so loose. Man, That'll probably shoot out of there and blow a hole right through me. Oh well, we'll find out. Fresh cotton in there. Ready for that. All right, I'm going to take a minute and fix up the plumbing again. Get some fresh tube on there for that to grab on. Feels pretty good. Get rid of this stuff before it all falls on the floor. This switch on the back here energizes the cooling system, turns the temperature monitoring on, all that stuff. You can see the water flowing through this. It's going to go from this tank through the radiator core, around, through the head, out of the head, back into the tank. This is an aluminum dragster fuel tank, and I took the foam out. I had anti-slash foam in there. Took that out. You can probably hear the fan running in there. Here's the meters, the thermometers. Pretty good flow rate, actually. All right. Here we go. I'll take out my deadhead plug, swap my transfer plug. So I had to bypass the gold filter because it was actually leaking at the O-rings. I changed the media, but I didn't have fresh O-rings. So I gotta look to see if I have a set. I just wanted to see if it would come up to pressure. It's at 3,000 PSI right now. Okay kids, so what have we learned? Yes, you can get a damaged compressor off of Amazon for cheap and patch it together enough to get it working. I was able to fill the great white tank, no problem. I was able to get this filter fixed. I had to replace the O-rings at the caps. And I also had a leaky quick connect at the other end, so I just got rid of the quick connect because I never use it. I put it direct threaded fitting in there to the micro bore hose. And I have to say, it worked better than my old one that died. No big surprise there. This one's newer. Maybe there were some improvements. I don't know. It does run a little bit hotter, about 8.5, 9 degrees warmer than the other one. You know, still well within its limits. I think it got to 147 Fahrenheit. Stayed there, no big deal. So I know some of you feel that people doink around with these cheap compressors way too much, and they put way too much effort into making them work, or that they don't need any effort. They just get yourself a 5-gallon pail of water and put any old oil in it and be happy. But there are those of us who nerd out on this, and I think I've taken mine to a whole new level. I actually had this cover made. Granted, I didn't pay very much. It was made in China. I figured that was fitting for what it was covering, but yes, it's a fitted elastic heavy vinyl cover. And it does a super job of keeping this compressor dust free and ready to use when I need it. I operate a small farm. I've got horses running around in the dry season and the dust is just unbelievable. So throwing this cover on there just means that it's nice and clean when I go to use it and I don't have to muck around with it. Anyway, that's all. I'm happy that my my new Yong Heng is working and great, and you know, if you can believe that this is a real Yong Heng and not a clone, that somehow that means it's better. Okay, I don't know, maybe I'll get 3 years out of it or 4 years out of this one instead of 3. I don't know. Again, I think they're all off the same line. I don't think there's any big difference. This one actually was more expensive and has less parts, so it's older. It's apples and oranges, I get it. But anyway, that's all I've got. And I've got all my bottles full now. I'm going to get doing some more shooting this week. See y'all later.